guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we have a Patreon request. One of my patrons wants me to listen to the very popular fan audio story, Exhausted Supplies, which of course is a multi-doctor story with the 9th and 12th Doctors. Now, I've listened to part of this one before, the first half. It's a two-part story. I've listened to the first part before. I always meant to get to the second one, just never got around to it. But remembered enjoying the first part. I did re-listen to the whole thing for this review, plus the little prequel episode. There is a little prequel episode. Excuse me. That's about 4.5 minutes. And basically, watching the prequel episode, you do find out that the events of Exhausted Supply from the 9th Doctor's perspective takes place between, at the end of Rose, when he first asks Rose to come with him, she says no, and he leaves. And then, of course, he comes back and says, oh, and it travels in time. I always like the fact that, you could always imagine he went on several journeys before he popped back instead of it being immediately. And this story follows that. The little prequel episode, it is the ending of Rose with him offering her to come with him the first time. She says no, and he leaves. And then it picks up on the planet where the story takes place, with basically the city being in chaos. They're hoping they'll get more supplies from Earth, and the War Doctor coming on, an announcement saying, no, the 6th bountiful human empire has fallen. You're not going to get any help. I'll try to come back and help when I can, but I'm in the middle of the Time War, yada, 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 yada. And it was a nice little mini episode. It's like 4.5 minutes. And then we get into the actual story proper. Again, 2 parts. I think the first part's about half an hour. The second part's somewhere between 30 and 40 minutes. Really good story. Several things I like about it. First off, just the story itself is really good. Let me mention that right now. I really like the writing of this story. Secondly, I like how well that the Doctors are written. Like, whoever wrote this story gets these incarnations of the Doctor. The 9th Doctor feels like the 9th Doctor. The 12th Doctor feels like the 12th Doctor. Whoever, I don't know if it's one person or multiple people who wrote this story, but whatever peoples were involved, they get these characters, both incarnations of these characters, because the Doctor's in very different points in his time stream, in his life. At this point, the 9th Doctor is very different from the 12th Doctor. And the writer or writers gets both incarnations well. They act like I would expect these versions of the Doctor to act. This also extends to the performers voicing them, because of course, being a fan audio, it's not Christopher Eccleston and Peter Capaldi voicing the 9th and 12th Doctors. It's other actors. I don't know if it's the same actor or multiple actors voicing them, but the first off, the voice actors sound similar to the characters, not 100%, but very similar. And the way they're voicing the Doctors sounds like the Doctor. So you get the impression that the voice actors get the characters as well, because the way they're doing their inflections, the way they're doing their lines fits how these Doctors would say these lines. So really, my hat's off to just how well the 9th Doctor and 12th Doctor are written and performed here, because both the actors and the writers get these characters, and that goes a long way with me. The Doctor also has a companion he kind of meets there. I think her name, I can't remember her name. It's like Shelley. Her name is something weird, but I think he calls her Shelley for short. And the 9th Doctor meets her, and she's kind of a builder that works there, and they have a really good rapport, which I like, which isn't the easiest thing for the 9th Doctor at this point in his life. So I like the fact that they have a banter, and they go around looking at this building, and he knows the technology is wrong, that this planet shouldn't have this kind of technology, so he wants to investigate. Meanwhile, the 12th Doctor ends up on this planet that almost, the way it's written, sounds like a giant graveyard. It's just desolate, giant graveyard. Not good. There's this kind of older woman there who's basically an undertaker who wants to bury him, and he's like, no, I don't want to get buried. And she's like, hey, cheapskate. Which is pretty, it's funny. This story has a lot of really good humor in it. Despite its serious moments, it has a lot of really good humor going on in it. With, I remember Shelley telling the 9th Doctor one time when they were talking, she's like, no wonder you're single. And I remember thinking it was funny. There are lots of humorous bits when the 9th and 12th Doctors actually meet in part 2, because they do end up running into each other, because the 12th Doctor realizes that the coffins are actually transport pods. Before they were used as coffins, they were used as transport pods. So he uses one and ends up in the time zone the 9th Doctor's in. And of course he recognizes the 9th Doctor, and the 9th Doctor doesn't recognize him. So they're like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "Smith, John Smith," which is hilarious. Because even the 9th Doctor's like, "I've never actually met a John Smith before." And he starts calling him Johnny Boy, which is such a 9th Doctor thing to do. "Johnny Boy, come over here." And that's pretty interesting. And they have some amusing moments together, like when the 12th Doctor calls the 9th Doctor grouchy, which is kind of a pot kettle thing. And then the 12th Doctor keeps calling the 9th Doctor keeps calling the 12th Doctor magician, because he's wearing, I guess, his season 8 coat or a series 8 coat, which looks kind of like a magician's coat. I don't think a magician's going to solve this. Will you stop about the coat? They do have some humorous moments, especially once Eccleston realizes that 12 is the Doctor, because he's like, "All right, who are you really?" And 12 shows him his Sonic. It's like, "You can't be." It's like, "How many people do you know run around with Sonic screwdrivers?" I really like 9 and 12 interacting. Is actually very interesting. I do actually enjoy their interactions together, because they're very different, but that's exactly how I could imagine 9 and 12 interacting. And then at one point they realize that the young woman, Shelley, that 9 is interacting with, and the older woman in the future is the same woman, even though the woman in the future doesn't have her memories anymore. And you basically find out that these people they send their old, it gets a little complicated about what's the past and what's the future, into the future. And then once they die there, they get sent back to the past somehow. Basically, they become fuel. They basically get sent so far into the past that their bodies turn into fossil fuel. And then in the main time, the present, the 9th Doctor's time, there's an abundance of fossil fuel, and they use fossil fuel to run everything. So they're basically using old and dead in the past to prosper in the present, reusing supplies. It's interesting. It's a little complicated to keep up with, to be honest. And of course, the Doctor's not having any of it, because, that's not a pleasant way to deal with the old. It really is a story against ageism, which I like. As someone who is approaching middle age, that's more and more on my mind. It's weird when you fill out applications now, and one of the questions is, "Are you under 40? I don't like questions like that, especially being over 40. Because you start running into places that might not hire you if you're over 40. So that's interesting to me to see a story that is against ageism and about having respect for your elderly. It's like, I can understand why the planet's doing what they're doing, because they're not getting supplies from Earth anymore. The Earth Empire has fallen, possibly due to events of the Time War, but some war. And so they're on their own, and they have to find a way to make it work. And it's kind of, sometimes you have to take extreme measures, but sometimes you end up in a situation like where you're Mondos and you take extreme measures, and, well, you have the Cybermen, which are less than human. And that's kind of the thing here, where they're almost selling their souls in a way. And it is. I like the timey-wimey nature of it, and how it uses time travel for the story to be effective, and watching the pieces fall into place as you're listening to the story and connecting the dots of what's going on. And the 12th Doctor especially, when he's squaring off with the people in charge, I like how he tries to pretend to be from the Shadow Proclamation. And then the one guy in charge is like, "Who sent you?" He's like, "The Shadow Architect." And he's like, "Really? I'm good friends with her. I was just playing golf last week. She didn't say you were coming." I don't know why that amused me, but it did. And then watching the Doctor as he goes into full, "you will listen to me or else" mode at the end. And then watching Shelley, or whatever her name is, remember who she is. There's actually a moment where she's like, "Me, I'm a nobody. I'm just an everyone. I'm a John Smith." And the way that line is done is really, really neat. It's really hard to explain unless you listen to it, but I like the way that hit for me emotionally. And then she kind of remembers her past, and then she sabotages everything and kind of helps save the day, which is great. But, Capaldi's delivering, or I shouldn't say Capaldi, the 12th Doctor's delivering a great speech there. And then the incidental music's really good, too. There are several points where it plays, 12's kind of the Doctor theme, which is really good. The music build up at the end of part 1, building up to the cliffhanger, was really good. The music at the end of part 2 is really good. I enjoyed the incidental music of this a lot. It really gets you pumped up and excited, and you know, it does exactly what an audio story has to do. It has to rely on its audio to paint you a picture in your mind and to sell the story. And this story does that well with its sound effects, with its voice cast, with its music. It really makes it easy to visualize what's going on in your head, and I really enjoyed that. And again, I liked the time travel nature of the events of the story, of a planet utilizing its future and its past to survive in its present. That's fascinating to me. And I like Doctor Who stories that can utilize the time travel aspects of it well. So this is a really good story. There's a reason why it's so popular, I think, in the fandom. I mean, and it's better than some of the actual official stories. Give me this over Arachnids in the UK, Kill the Moon, Reality War, and Empire of Death any day. Much better writing. So yeah, Exhausted Supplies. I enjoy it. I like the ending too, when the 12th Doctor leaves a nice message for the 9th Doctor. It was a really good ending. I really liked it. So I want to know what you think of Exhausted Supplies. Comment down below and let's talk about it. Don't forget to click the like button, the subscribe button as well. This was a patron request by one of my patrons on Patreon. If you would like to check my Patreon out and look at the different tiers there, there is a link to my Patreon down in the description below. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review. I have a birthday coming up at the beginning of July. Shameless pandering. And would love to get some more stuff in. I would love to get some more of the standard collection sets. You can see the ones I have right there. Plus, I know I have Season 9 coming as well. I know Simon is sending me that for my birthday, which I really appreciate. I also have a link to my Amazon wishlist and a link to my Amazon UK wishlist down there as well. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Colin Coney, Sam Venning, Unknown289, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. It's very much appreciated. My YouTube members as well. Most importantly, thank you for watching.